Welcome back to Face to Face. I'm John Ralston. We're trying to figure out what's going on with that lawsuit with Dubai World and MGM Mirage over City Center and what's happening to the condo market here. We have two of the city's foremost experts right here on the program. I want to read a little bit more from the lawsuit, gentlemen. It accuses MGM Mirage essentially of mismanaging this project. As the managing member of the joint venture, MGM was tasked with managing the City Center development and construction, as well as maximizing the revenues from condominium sales at City Center. MGM, as project manager, has received management fees for a project that is significantly over budget despite downsizing certain of the facilities. MGM's mismanagement of City Center and failure to implement contingency plans for possible downturns in the economic and financial markets have caused Infinity to make capital contributions far in excess of the levels originally estimated by MGM. It's an interesting point there, Mr. Lerner, in the sense that you've heard some talk that some of these companies should have prepared better for a downturn. They're all so over-leveraged. Well, what is MGM Mirage, like $13 billion, right. $65 billion industry-wide, I think. Do you think Dubai World has a good case there that they really didn't look to the future very well in this project?
I think, something that's missing from all this may be Dubai World's financial dynamic, which some would suggest is problematic itself, leveraged at maybe 10 times, which is a big relative number. And so
all over the world you're talking about, not just here. Okay.
Yeah, on a collective basis. And so, this is step one, from my perspective, of making the case for why they don't need to fund further. Maybe the resources have been shut off. Maybe they don't have the access to capital that they did. But that's really what it feels like to me. Yeah, I mean, in an environment where capital was easy and cheap, and we hadn't seen a down cycle in memorable history, some of these companies, like MGM, like Las Vegas Sands, moved forward and started developing projects when funding wasn't complete. And this is a perfect example of what happens on the tail of that.
Do you think that this indicates that MGM Mirage is going to go into bankruptcy?
No, I don't think so. A couple real important points to make on that. One, City Center is non-recourse to anything else that MGM Mirage.
Explain what that means to laymen.
Yeah, in other words, if this project went bankrupt, there are no claims that can be made against other MGM Mirage assets. Okay. So in theory, they could stop the project. There's no debt on the project right now, which I think people believe there is. And so there's really no one to claim anything at this point. So they would lock up their own equity if they stopped. Kind of like Boyd with the Echelon project. Got it. So in order for MGM Mirage to move into, be a bankruptcy related issue, you'd need them to violate debt covenants, which they've now gotten a temporary amendment for. Right. And I think for a lot of reasons they'll get a permanent reprieve. And the other issue would be if they couldn't raise enough capital, didn't have enough capital to meet debt maturities, which I believe they do, especially following the sale of the Treasure Island.
Let me ask you, you've looked at a lot of these condo projects around town, been involved in some. I remember having Erwin Mulaski, the well-known developer, on this program a long time ago, and he said either 10% or some number would eventually ever go up. Compared to other projects you've looked at, did MGM Mirage know what it was doing with the pricing, design, how they got into this condo project?
I think, this project, just like other mega projects, were a byproduct of time where executives who were grossly overpaid, exaggerated salaries, unreasonable compensation. And I started saying this when I got back from Dubai in last fall, when I saw executives there running multi-billion-dollar companies making just a few $1 million versus humongous packages here in the United States, publicly traded companies. I think that was part of that exaggerated unreasonable compensation caused those people to want to do exaggerated, unreasonable projects that didn't make sense. Is
this one of those, do you think?
I don't know about this one in particular. I don't know I'm not that familiar with the top executives.
But that happened with some of the condo projects.
It happened everywhere. It happened with every public company in the United States. And we've seen it in the auto industry and finance industry, everywhere else. It just doesn't make sense on the global scale when you compare it to compensation of other companies and other countries around the world. And so what happened? All these massive mega projects were being built, and I saw that happen with Las Ramblas, where I saw where they wanted to build 10 towers at the same time.
That was the George Clooney project.
George Clooney, Brad Pitt.
Right? Yeah.
That was the time I referred to when celebrities were becoming developers and developers were becoming celebrities and on the cover of magazines.
Well, maybe gaming company guys shouldn't have become condo developers. What about that?
Absolutely. I mean, there was a way to partner up with other developers and not try to do it all on your own. They had too many options there for the buyer to see, and they released them all at the same price. The prices were a lot higher than everything else in the city, and we've seen what happened with other highly priced projects such as Trump. They're sitting 80% vacant.
Yeah, because the financing wasn't there, right, to complete the deals.
No, they completed the deals. The financing wasn't there to finance the end buyer of the condo, especially condo hotel, where at one time you could finance 70, 80% of it. Now people have to put 50% down or 60% down to get a financing on a condo hotel because of the problems in the marketplace.
All right, both you guys seem to me as generally sunny, optimistic guys, even in the face of black clouds. Can they maintain that about the future of the condo and gaming markets here in Las Vegas? Back in a moment.
You're watching Face to Face with John Ralston, a program presented in partnership with the Las Vegas Sun, Cox Communications, and KLAS TV.